Hello, guys.
Hey, hello.
Hello.
Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Hi. Hi. Nice to see some Captain people.
Yeah.
Right.
Great. And Eric is back in business.
Yeah.
So please add your names to the meeting minutes. I can add it to the chat if you don't have it. Oh, I forgot to add the attendance list to the meeting minutes. Just a second. I'll remove last year. Oh, you're here. You can see it. See, Andrea, you're here. Andrea, will you keep the notes and I drive the meeting, or how should we do it?
Yeah, sounds fine.
Perfect. So maybe you can share your screen as well so everyone sees, if that's okay.
Yeah, just a sec.
Sure. Great. Hi, Steve. So I think it's time to get started. We should have a section between here so we don't mess up the layout. Okay, action items from last week, 2 weeks ago. We didn't paste those in this. Let's see, let's just go through the protocol from last time then. If there's anything there, any actions we should look into. Eric should have made a PR about what the changes, and I believe you did.
No, I have not done that.
You have not done that, okay. I thought you had. Let's see. Andrea, should we keep the actions together in some special section here in the minutes of meeting? I think that would be easier to follow them up if we have them in one place.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. So if I see the next action item was, let's see. Oh, I'm browsing. There. Heavyweight versus lightweight events. Andrea, you were supposed to create the PR around that. Is that done or?
No, I've not done it.
Yeah. Remains to be done then. The next one is on Tracy to write a blog post. And I know that is done. And there is, I guess, a link in our current meetings. Further down, we will come to the blog post for the CDCon BOF session later in the minutes, sorry, in the agenda. Good. Then I guess it's time for some updates on the SIG itself. And as I hope you've seen that Andrea sent out a poll for a name of our protocol. Have you all responded to it?
Yeah.
Some of you have. Andrea, would you care to bring up the results so far at least? see how many votes we have got, or how many suggestions we have got?
Sure. Yeah, I included the list on the agenda, but let me. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So we've got 6 answers. Or no, 7. Yeah, six answers. The first one is just the heading, and different proposals. So thanks for all the answers. I try to aggregate the different answers available. And I think there are a lot that are around CD events or CDE or events.cd. That's a common event, I think, in most of the answers. And we have a few other options like Semio or Semios proposed. That comes from semios, which is Greek for any form of activity, conduct, or process that involves science. Then we have things like CSE for the CDF SIG events, CDFE, so for the Continuous Delivery Foundation events, or CI/CD cloud events, CDC, CD cloud events. So I hope I captured all of these on the agenda. If Zoom lets me switch tab. Okay.
So I guess many of those, as this is said, are referring to CDF or CD or our SIG or something like that. And of course, that's an obvious proposal, I guess, to have it very much related to the actual, so to say, project we are performing here, whatever. I would have hoped for some more, what should I say, fun proposals for names that did not really say CDF or CD or something like that. But fair enough. It seems that most of us want something like that. Are there any thoughts from the audience now on the name? Maybe my first thought then could be that I would like us to not be the protocol to not be really hard connected to the current name of our SIG or of the organization we work in, I mean CDF, but rather something that tells the world what this protocol is about, or more about the content of the protocol than how it's driven or in what project scope it's created or whatever, if that makes sense.
Yes,
my...
I would agree with that as well. That I mean, organizations change and owners change as well. So it should be more focused on what it is rather than who built it. So I agree with that.
Yeah, exactly. If we would imagine that the protocol might move from, I don't know, hopefully not from CDF to some other hosting site or whatever hosting organization, then it needs to change name, of course, if that's happened, and we have CDF in the name. Anyway, but of course, CD as continuous delivery is, of course, what we are aiming at least right now. I'm not sure if that could be considered to a limitation to what the protocol could contain, or if we think that's a broad enough term.
I think the continuous delivery does make sense. So the other thing that we keep hearing about the delivery is more also on supply chain. That's also being commonly used now. So supply chain events or something related to software supply chain from code to deployment.
Yeah, correct. So maybe it's a bit limiting if we call it CD as well.
I personally think the CD is too limiting, because if you start pushing the events back to the CI process, then the name's not reflecting that. And like the other person is saying, like supply chain down the road, you know, needs to come into play as well when you bring in DevSecOps and other pieces to that puzzle.
Yes, supply chain is now also includes a CI, so we could think of that in that direction. All the tools that are used in software delivery. Right?
So you mean supply chain is a more broad term that would also cover CI/CD, or?
Yeah. So the thinking nowadays is that we want to be able to track the entire process all the way from developer changing something to what is running in the target. And the supply chain is one of the terms to able to track the entire pipe. And the events that we are using essentially becomes the context in which one can put all those things together to say how to track the entire thing, and that becomes the supply chain.
And it actually goes further back than just the developer making their first coding change. It's actually when an end user reports a bug, if you look at the whole process,
Or a feature request, I guess,
or an
as well.
enhancement, you know.
Yeah. Isn't it more DevOps then? Or is that a term that we shouldn't use?
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to ask. I mean, I get that we don't want to name anything based on a foundation or ownership, but Andrea, were you using the term continuous delivery not as like the continuous delivery foundation, but continuous delivery as a process? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you could see continuous integration or everything related to continuous integration, continuous deployments, and continuous delivery as like part of a broad term, continuous delivery, which I think is what the continuous delivery foundation is also named, continuous delivery foundation.
Right. So I think the only one that you really so should we be aligning some of these these kind of these event buckets? Should we try to align it with what the landscape represents? So we would have, for example, orchestration events, and we would have security events, and we would have new feature events. As opposed to putting it all just in a larger kind of continuous delivery bucket. Are
you proposing that we should have different names for different buckets then, and not one name for the protocol as in large, or?
Well, so I get where I think that I understand where he pulled continuous delivery. I don't think it was an intent to align it to a particular organization. I think it's just a way of naming what the broader area that it's serving.
Yeah.
But I think apart from the names of the buckets, Tracy, I think what we were trying to come up here is with a name for the overall protocol, like a brand name that we could use to refer to the protocol instead of talking to like the protocol produced by the CDF event SIG.
I get it.
But if we already now see that we won't cover all areas by calling it continuous delivery, if things could be outside continuous delivery but still part of the protocol, then I think it's might not be the best name. But I'm not sure. Some people might argue that everything could be part of continuous delivery as well.
In Captain, just want to say in Captain we have most of the events we currently have are around continuous delivery, but we also have events that are more in the bucket of operations. So this is also in I heard earlier, I think it was Steve, that we also have the bucket of CI. So I think it makes sense to open up the name also, although I really like the name CD events. But if we consider that an event starts, let's say, in continuous integration or even at the developer and goes all the way to production, and maybe even if there is a problem with his or her code change, then all these events, they should span the whole flow. And then it's not only CD anymore, but it starts in CI and goes all the way to operation.
Right. And I almost feel like, you know, continuous delivery as we know it today, we are ourselves in this event discussion as disrupting it. So it would be great if we could come up with a broader term that take it so that if we disrupt continuous delivery and that becomes old fashioned, we didn't use that name. But I don't know what a better name is to. It's hard. It's hard to rebrand, and it's hard to come up with your own kind of this name. I was working on the application enablement working group from the CNCF side, and what they're trying to do is come up with some patterns for deploying infrastructure and database components and application components all at the same time. And application enablement, they were struggling with that. So I gave them the name of cooperative delivery, which is a great description of what they're trying to do. I don't know if they're going to use it, but it still is a CD.
Yeah.
So can't get rid of the C. You know, C's and D's, deployments, deliveries, continuous, cooperative. So I do feel like we should come up with it, and maybe we go back to terms like life cycle events.
Well,
because then we're not talking about just that.
Yeah, I think this debate is quite infected, and a lot of people have different understandings of what continuous X is. And I guess that's one of the reasons I actually proposed this Semio as a name, something that does not relate at all to anything we've talked about, but just a name that anyway makes some sense from its meaning. I mean, the Semio is a Greek word that talks about how to notify around activities and other related stuff. So that's something completely different that doesn't limit us at this.
Exactly. And then if we do disrupt, you know, go 5 years from now, when most tools are really event-based, potentially that could happen. And we're not talking about continuous delivery. We have not retired a name that we started using. I think that's the biggest challenge.
Personally, I really liked in the. Oh, sorry, Steve.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say that I really liked the cloud events name, that it's simple, it's sketchy, and it might be maybe I don't know if it covers all the use cases that it aims for, but at least it's from the name you can get an idea of what it relates to. And I think that's an advantage, even if the name is not like a full perfect description of what they're trying to do, or maybe it is in their case, it's a bit easier. But I would like to, for me, I think it's important to have a name which is also like a reasonable brand, so it's not too complex and long, and it also relates to what it is about. I like the Semius name, but it's the only concern I have with that if just by the name you don't know what it is about.
Well, I think if we ever actually created a listener or a product of some sort, Semio would be an awesome name for it. But for a process or a practice, like a best practice, I feel like it has to be clear, like cloud events or like lifecycle events. Or
I really like the term lifecycle here.
Well, I just threw out, I was taking, what about I mean, Mel, you said it earlier, the CX events, you know, where you could basically replace X with whatever you want, whether it's gonna be an I or a D or.
It just doesn't it doesn't tell everybody the best practice we're having a discussion about. That's the problem I have with it. Like cloud events, but when I think about cloud events, I probably shouldn't, but I think about CRDs.
Yeah, I kind of agree. I mean, we could, or maybe I would say that we have scared some embedded developers but when the cloud events term was initiated, I mean, also such events are also interesting for embedded developers, I would say, not just Kubernetes or cloud-based developers. So I actually have a problem with the cloud part of the cloud events because it's not only about cloud, at least not to me. But I've accepted it, of course. And I agree with you, Andrea, that it's good that it contains the events term because it's about events. And maybe it would be good if we had something around events in our name as well. Or at least maybe protocol, since it's a protocol we're proposing here.
Yes, that's, yeah.
Like, I mean, HTTP or SMTP or such an abbreviation that everyone knows. Could be like continuous transfer protocol or something, CTP.
Speaking of cloud events, I guess there is nothing really keeping us to following the cloud events standard for all future. We could switch to another one or branch out to multiple ones or whatever is suitable. So it might be for that reason reasonable not to include cloud events in the protocol names. It really has not very much with.
I agree with that because we are mostly using cloud events for kind of structuring our events and stuff. But what is different in this case is the actual vocabulary that we are creating around it. So something that kind of reflects more about what the vocabulary is and what we are bringing to cloud events.
Yeah.
Let's do an exercise. Emil, could you bring?
I just threw this down here. How about continuous transformation events?
Emil, could you bring up the original definition from our working group when we were in a working group and we were pushing to be a SIG? I just want to see what terms we use to describe ourselves.
You could also use abbreviation. So we were thinking software lifecycle protocol. So software lifecycle event protocol, SLEP.
And maybe we just call, I mean, we could call them transformation events. I think the concept is transforming is a interesting one. We just take the continuous out. What did we say what was our mission? Standardized events.
Oh, that could be standardized lifecycle events.
Not very sexy though, is it?
Standardized lifecycle event protocol, SLEP. Right?
Yep.
SLEP.
That could work.
Do we want to put open somewhere in the name?
OSLEP.
OSLEP.
No, that doesn't sound right.
Sleepo. Why can we get another E in there so we get sleep instead?
Yeah, well, it's kind of correct, you know. That's kind of like the Yiddish, like the Yiddish word. No, we don't want sleep. We do not want sleep. You know, there's a Yiddish word called schlep. You know, you schlep things around. My mother was Jewish, and that was one of the Yiddish words she kept around. Are you to schlep around things, carrying things around? So I don't think we want to sleep though. It's just
Or event lifecycle would be nice.
Yeah.
How about LEAP? How about we take out standardized and just call it lifecycle enterprise events protocol? LEAP is much better than sleep.
That isn't bad.
That we standardize the LEAP, that we are always sleeping. Or yeah, why not? LEAP.
Sleep is kind of nice. Like events will still happen even when you're sleeping.
Why do we say enterprise, by the way? What do we mean with enterprise?
Just to get the extra E in there.
Okay. Maybe we can have leap with an A instead, LEAP somehow, which means that we take big steps.
We could add active. I don't know what the yes. Actual protocol.
Activity protocol. No, that's the same as life cycle.
Life cycle events and analytics protocol, maybe.
Whoa.
Oh, now we're getting to the
somewhere.
core of it.
So we're in the whole ML area now as well, right?
Yeah, I mean that's the direction.
We take over the world.
We have to put the and in there though. Life cycle events and analytic protocols. But are we getting too far away from what we're trying to do? I think actually we're getting closer. And we've gotten away from continuous delivery, which is great.
Life cycle could be life cycle of anything. I'm a bit.
I was thinking about the same problem. What is the life cycle of what? Of an application, of software, of hardware? This is, I mean, maybe just one additional word for classifying what life cycle stands for would be needed from my point of view.
I also like spell, but maybe instead of standardized, maybe it could also be software or something else. But it's also nice abbreviation.
We have a bunch of hardware we would like to use this protocol for. So
okay, then software is not good.
But isn't it firmware then, Eric, in that hardware or something? That's almost software. I guess the hardware itself will not send any events, right?
I mean, we could want to send events, for instance, when a new piece of hardware has been installed or when a hardware has gone down or something like that. Then,
but I guess then it's software that sends the events, at least, about the hardware.
I mean, the hardware itself wouldn't really send anything. Yeah. That's easy, but we could send information about the hardware.
Sure, of course.
So what I can do, I mean, I can take these options and make a new poll, and then people can vote or comment further.
I think when we find it, we're all going to go, yay, that's it. I think we still have to work on it some.
Or yeah. Or I can start a GitHub discussion. I mean, to see people wants to comment. We want to continue the discussion until we find the right one. I don't know if we are going to find it if we continue. I mean, if we continue today. I mean, we can continue discussing on the name.
I think we should. There's no hurry for this, so well, we should have a name before June 23rd. That would be good, but I don't think we have to decide. I think we can. Names are so important. I think we should take the time to really try to get it right. And do we need to say if we have life cycle, if we have life cycle in there, do we really need to define the life cycle of what? Because if you talk to a DBA, they have their own life cycle, and your hardware people have their own life cycle. So do we have to define it as being a thing? Can we just say life cycle events?
I think it would make sense to just say life cycle, because we will be talking about life cycles of running services and of development stuff and all kinds of different things, I guess, in the end. So really, we don't want to limit ourselves too much on that aspect.
Is there a different word for life cycle that's maybe doesn't?
Oh, we've gone through that for years now.
Life cycle. Synonym. Well, that's what I think, Steve, you came up with transforming or transformation, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is there a name for this never-ending DevOps lying 8 symbol in English somehow?
It's called
a never-ending story, or
yeah. That's the infinity symbol in math.
Yeah. Okay. So infinite events, or
Well, that's funny that you should mention that particular image, because I am doing a presentation and I brought up events in my presentation for like high level C-level and director level. And I was looking at the infinity symbol and I was like, you know what, that doesn't describe events. And so I started thinking about what describes events, and I used a Tibetan knot instead. Because it makes more sense. So the Tibetan knot makes more sense, where you have all these events occurring at this, potentially could be occurring at the same time. It's no longer really an infinity
It's not linear.
It's not in any way linear.
Or sequential. I wouldn't say linear, but sequential.
Even though I think Kepton uses the term sequence, because this is hard stuff to talk about. But look at a Tibetan knot and you'll see what I was like, oh, that's events. That's a better image for events.
what was that, Tibet, or?
That's a Tibetan knot.
It's similar to the sideways 8, but it has things that crosses go over and under. It still goes in a infinite circle.
Right.
So if you're looking at that, then I think what we are looking at is something sitting on top of that 8, right? Infinity. We're basically extracting all the events or what's going on with this 8, and then trying to build a context on top.
Oh, you're really trying to
from production systems, progressive delivery, CI. These are all different versions that are happening at different time. What we are trying to build is a plane that gives a context to at any time slice.
There's a Tibetan knot.
Sorry, it's too much background noise.
Right, yeah.
So that describes more what we're doing with events than an infinity symbol. Because it's all happening. It could potentially all be happening at the same time, and it actually is always listening. No, it's not a pipeline anymore. That's why I keep saying we're kind of disrupting the concepts of continuous delivery. And so the names are kind of important if we can come up with something that really has a reference to.
But I guess that Tibetan knot represents the system we are sending events from and monitoring.
Yes.
Not the actual events themselves, right?
Right, because that's that's the important part, right?
So the events could be like flashes going out of this knot or something.
Yeah.
So when I represent events in documentation in Ericsson, I normally write like a flash or an arrow that looks like a flash or something that represents something happening from the system. But yeah, it's all about symbols.
None of us are in FinTech, are we?
No, I think we have someone in SIG interoperability from FinTech, right? But not in our SIG yet.
I wonder how they refer to their systems, because their event systems in all of their securities software is pretty amazing. I wonder if they have something that they use to refer to it.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody in that industry would know, I'm sure.
Well,
Maybe
I
we
would
should
say
have Sorry, maybe we should have Marvel's Flash as our mascot. Or
I would say we, like Andrea said, let's go ahead and do a GitHub discussion and just put these out there, and then we could just keep on throwing ideas out there and see where we go.
We call it an event mesh.
Mesh is a hyperword, right? Why not? Yeah, I think we're getting somewhere now, at least. I mean, it's good that we start the discussions and that people start thinking and be creative. And I think we need this. And I agree with Tracy, we shouldn't really rush this too much and just decide on something in a hurry now. I know, Andrea, that there was an intention that we should have this name represented in the event protocol PR now. But of course, that could hopefully change as well.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a draft. And that's for the POC. So, I mean, we could stick with something like CD events just for the POC. Exactly. And doesn't have to be our final name. I totally agree on that.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why I think, yeah.
It's a temporary bit CD events, I think, but we should have something more, something funnier or better for the long run. Or more creative.
Bonus points from me if it's something everyone can pronounce. I've run into those problems before, like Jira, for instance, or Gyro, whatever other pronunciations people have.
Kubernetes.
Exactly.
If you want to have the concept of the loop, we could use one of these recursive acronyms. But maybe it's too geeky.
Recursive what? Sorry?
A recursive acronym, like YAML or GNU. Or like YAML is yet another markup language.
Yeah.
No, that's not it. Sorry, that's not a recursive one. Like GNU, that is GNU, not Linux.
No.
GNU means GNU.
Well, we could go something like TOML.
No.
Tom's other markup language.
Yeah, exactly. That's another recursive one. TOML, not YAML. Yeah. Yeah.
Switch to Linux for Unix there. GNU is Unix.
Sorry, I cannot type it right today. Thanks. Good catch.
It's Monday.
Well, it is definitely, it's important for us to get this right. So I mean, I don't even, if we don't have it right before June 23rd, I don't think that's going to be a huge problem either. It would be fun to have it right by then, but let's just keep chewing on it until it comes through.
If we don't have it done by then, maybe we can get some help in the buff session from the audience there with new creative suggestions on the protocol name.
Yes, I think that could be fun.
Yeah, it could.
Andrea, just to restore your honor, YAML is a recursive acronym. It's short for YAML ain't markup language.
Oh.
Is it? I thought it was actually yet another markup language.
It might have been, but now it's changed to YAML ain't.
It was changed to a recursive one. That's like they changed the explanation of it.
Which is ironic because it is a markup language, isn't it? I would consider it a markup language. I consider it pure hell. That's what it should have just been called pure hell. I hate it.
I think we could move on in the agenda, sorry. So we get somewhere. But it's a good discussion,
Okay.
and I like that we are becoming a bit creative now. That's actually a bit fun as well. So where are we in the agenda? A lot of notes here. Some updates on the work stream then. there was a meeting last week. I didn't attend it. Someone who was there could give some feedback from it.
Some really good discussions regarding the proof of concept work, basically specifying in much more detail what exactly it contains. So I think we had people from Captain, Tecton, and all other involved parties, and Mauricio for the library. So I don't remember how much notes we took. I posted some stuff in Slack, I know, as an outcome. So we were talking like, discussing what events exactly Tecton will send and how Captain will pick it up, and translation layers and stuff like that. So it's looking good. That's my recollection, at least from the meeting.
So the focus was more on the POC than on the protocol, I guess, then, or?
Yes.
Is that how we should have those meetings until the POC is out? We should focus on the POC and then wait with the rest of the protocol discussions, or should there be two different meetings?
That is a good question. I think we just focused on the POC because that's what was sort of screaming urgent needs right now. But it might be, as you say, that that's not really what the vocabulary meeting is for, based on its name, for instance.
I guess not in the long run, but as you say, now in this short time, we need to focus on the POC. I agree.
I also agree. Because we had a very good discussion, and I think one of the next steps could be that we pick those events that are the most important one for the POC and define those. And then in the long run, of course, we don't want to hijack this, but it was a very productive meeting last week. So if we can keep this technical focus on the POC, that would help, in my opinion.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think it's really helpful to have the POC move forward, and also to keep like the scope contained until we have something that we can show to the world, and that we can start expanding from there.
Just a quick question: where can I find the meeting and the invite for this vocabulary meeting?
It's in the CDF calendar. I can paste the link.
Thanks a lot.
And Johannes, I can also send you the meeting notes from last time, but it's also in the calendar.
And if you like, you can be invited to be part of the calendar meeting entry there as well. You can add your mail address there if you like. So you get the invitation from the calendar itself. And that's for all of you, both for this SIG event and for the vocabulary. For this SIG Events meeting and for the vocabulary meeting. We can add you as participants in that calendar entry if you like. So please send your mail address or something if you like that.
Thank you.
Okay. What's next on the agenda? Meetups and conferences. Are we done with the vocabulary updates, by the way? I think so, right? So going on to the CDCon and the BOF session there. Unfortunately, I haven't made any updates to the document. Tracy, what do you think? Are there enough questions there now? Or?
I think there's enough. I'm hoping that it becomes more organic anyway, and people ask, whatever questions they feel works. But I think that'll get us started.
Yeah.
I spoke with Jennifer Crowley before this meeting. We were setting up the training session. So there is an opportunity for us to share something. And as far as I understood from Jennifer, the sharing doesn't like automatically take over anything. So we could just have that sort of on the side, and people can choose to to look at something. So if we want to prepare, or yeah, if we want to present something, then we should prepare it and be ready to share it. But I'm not sure what that would be. But if we need some like visual aids or something, then there is an opportunity for that at least.
That's good to know. I didn't know we could do that. Because maybe, Andrea, if at minimum you could just walk through what the POC is gonna look like when you as you at least the status of it. Could be something interesting to share.
I have an action to write some information material and also draw a diagram about the POC. So that might be
And then did we hear anything back? So there was a suggestion that we actually change the time because it is that I don't know why they did it, but they put all the BOFs at the same time, which means that Jenkins X, for example, is at the same time as this one, as ours. So I think they're discussing if they can rearrange the time.
I haven't heard that before, but I would be perfectly fine with switching to another time as long as it's.
Yeah, I would too. I think it would be great if we were not competing with other projects and their BOF. So I think they may be looking at restructuring all those, but I have no idea this late in the game.
So did you say, Tracy, that you mentioned the conflict already? Or is it?
I didn't have to. Emil and Kara pushed it, or Fatih and Kara pushed it up the kind of the food chain.
Oh, okay. Okay.
It was discussed in the interoperability call because we realized we were not interoperating at the BOF level. We were all standing on top of each other. So I can send a note though to Jennifer Crowley and let her know that at least those of us who have committed to being at that particular BOF are okay with changing that and putting it at a different time. Unless there's somebody that says, no, I really need to keep it at that time.
I hope I can participate anytime, but I'm not sure since it's night time in Sweden, but it should work, I hope.
What time is it? What time do they have it scheduled for now? Let's look really quick. It is. It is at 11:15 Eastern Daylight Time. And yes, it's exactly at the same time as Jenkins X and ML Ops. And then they have another group of them that are at 2 o'clock Eastern Time. And there's Ortelius, and then there is Feature Flags, and then there is a sponsored one. I just wish they would take them and not put them all exactly at the same time. So yeah, I can see how it's gonna be a struggle for them to rearrange it. But they could, easy enough. They're trying not to have talks over, you know, basically it's just one big stream. I don't know how many rooms they have. Like at 10:45, there's a ton of talks. And then at 11:15, there's just three BOFs. I'm wondering if we ask that we can, yeah, I don't know. They're gonna have to sort it out. We'll leave it up to them. They're the experts, but I can tell them that we're okay with changing the time if they do.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's a terrible thing that Jenkins X is at the same time. I almost feel like, yeah, I don't know. I have no idea where that would go.
I'm not sure how much overlap there is. Who should be in the Jenkins X session? I mean, in the panel or in the hosting part of it? Not anyone from us, right?
The Jameses will be hosting the Jenkins X BOF, yeah.
Right, and they are normally not in our SIG, so maybe that's okay.
Exactly.
But I guess, for example, Kara is normally in both SIGs.
Yep.
So she might have an issue deciding where to go.
I think Kara would have a problem. She'd have to choose one or the other.
And I guess, as Fatih mentioned on the interop meeting last, the BOF session is supposed to be an interactive session, and therefore it's not as interesting to watch it afterwards, right?
Yes, yes, yeah.
So that's sort of the reason to not have them at the same time. But at the same time, for every presentation, there is also an interactive part, Q&A often. So whenever we place it, it could conflict with something else.
Well, maybe they move the sponsored, because there's 2 sponsored BOFs at 2:10 at the same time as the Ortelius BOF. I'm surprised more of the open source projects didn't ask for one. Like, I don't see a screwdriver one. I don't see a Tecton BOF. Oh, it's later. Okay. That is on the 24th. Tecton is on the 24th, and Spinnaker is on the 24th. And then there's another Jenkins one on the 24th. That's weird. Oh, one's Jenkins X, of course. Okay. I don't know.
About our BOF, like, what is the main message that we want people to take away? I just took a course in strategic communications, and now I need to ask those kind of questions of myself. But is it like we want people to join the SIG, or we want people to keep an eye on the events, or we want people to, in general, think event-based systems, or what's the main takeaway, so to say?
Well, if you look at the questions, I kept the questions really around almost an introduction to who we are and what events are. Most people, this will be a brand new world for them to think about a CD pipeline in terms of an event mesh as opposed to a very linear process. So that's what I kept the questions to. It doesn't mean we have to keep them that way, but that's
fine. So then the focus would sort of be on what are the benefits of doing this in an event-based way to like get people's interest up around the events themselves. Yeah, that makes sense.
I've spoken to a lot of people, and the idea of doing events at first they're like, what? And then they're like, oh, yeah, there is a better way to do this, isn't there?
Yeah.
Takes them a minute, though.
I see now that time is running. If we should try to finish the agenda, we need to proceed. If that's okay with everyone.
Yeah.
So we should mention that there are at least one KubeCon submission. Andrea, you and who was it? Was it Mauricio or?
Yes, it's me and Mauricio. We submitted a presentation for KubeCon titled "Using Cloud Events to Create an Interoperable CI/CD Ecosystem," which is about the work that we're doing here at the SIG. So creating like a lingua franca, so to kind of language for CI/CD system to talk to each other. And yeah, let's see if it's accepted or not.
So has anyone else provided any presentations for KubeCon this autumn?
I'm gonna look. I might have. I can't remember now. Let me look to see what I submitted. Gotta find it.
I know the captain team submitted, but it's not so much about the technical part around events or around interoperability, but more on the use case, like SLO-based quality gates and these kind of things.
No, I did submit one. I did something called Events in CI/CD: The Future of Pivoting Your Pipeline for Cloud Native.
Nice.
I don't
Yes,
have a lot of
absolutely.
hope, though. I've submitted for every year and I never get chosen, so I don't have a lot of hope. But I did submit one for events.
Yeah. At least it's visible that we want to talk about events there. Okay. And then going on to presentations, and there I thought it would be great to get someone from Argo or Intuit into our SIG to present how Argo events, or the thoughts around events in the Argo events tool. So does anyone here on the call have any contact with anyone from Argo? I guess there was some from Dynatrace, wasn't it, previously?
We do have some contacts to Argo or Intuit. Unfortunately, I know that Sumit, he was our like first-hand contact to Intuit and Argo, but he left Argo. He left Intuit. But we are in contact with others from the Argo team, but more on the Argo CD team and not so much Argo events. But
Yeah,
if you would like to reach out to them and ask them.
Yeah, I believe we had a presentation. Was it on the Interop SIG some time ago about Argo rollouts? I believe it was by them. But we haven't heard much about the Argo events project, which would be more relevant to us in this SIG. So if it's possible for any one of you to reach out to them to see if they would like to join or even make a presentation for us on their Argo events, that would be great.
Yeah, I will ask my contacts from Argo CD if they have someone from Argo events joining. Yeah, I can do that.
Great, and I'll reach out to Gail McCommons and ask her if she might be able to reach out to the folks on the CNCF side and find out who we should talk to as well.
I do believe, Andrea, that we did reach out to Argo in their Slack channel some time ago, but we didn't get any response really. So at least we tried that some time ago. It would be good to attract them actually to the CDCon conference as well. Unless they're already there.
And Emil, just for clarification, they should be invited to the SIG or to the CDCon?
Both. But I was thinking more a presentation here in the SIG.
Okay, yeah, got it.
But of course, it would be nice to see them, to meet them also in the CDCon BOF session, if possible. Okay, good. Any other presentations we should look for, you think, here? Of course, the POC should be presented here sometime, I guess, whenever there is something to show.
I think we should schedule it for next meeting.
Yeah.
Or next meeting before the conference. I'm losing track of. Yes, it is a few days. Then it's probably too late to present it the first time. We should, but please put something on the agenda for the next meeting anyway.
Yeah, that would be great. Some kind of dry run, If and then we can discuss if it's valuable to show that in the BOF session, even maybe, if it's short enough. Good. Okay, going on, last minute. There is a blog post now. Tracy, thank you very much for writing that one.
My pleasure.
You can all see it there. Hope we can attract some people to the BOF session. Have you got any response, by the way, Tracy, on that, or how does it work? Is it possible to make comments on the blog, or?
I don't know. I don't know if that's the answer to that, if we can make comments on the blog. I just know it went out. Let's look to see.
I'm afraid it's not, because we don't have any login functionality in the CD Foundation website, right?
I know. it's a sore subject. Let's just put it this way.
There could be some interaction on the Twitter maybe, because I saw that it was tweeted as well about these blog posts.
Yeah, they have been. Roxanne, who manages their social media, she's pushed it out several times, so it's out there. I know that.
Yeah, but I haven't watched that either.
I've pushed it out as well, and so it's out there. Yeah, it would be nice if we could do comments on the page. Hopefully, Tiffany, the new outreach chairperson, is working on getting a new website up. We've budgeted funds for it. I just want to get it out of this WordPress format, and it just needs work.
So time's up, I see, and we didn't have time to discuss the PR, unfortunately. But I urge everyone to go in there to look at the pull request and comment on it. At least from Captain's side, it would be very good to see if you have any comments on the pull request there. So please review it. I guess we could proceed with the POC without having that pull request merged, but it would of course be good if we could merge it. Okay, any other final words from anyone?
Is there already kind of a follow-up meeting for the POC, or should we just discuss in Slack as we already did with Eric and Maurizio and the group?
We should do both, I think, but definitely in the vocabulary meeting next Tuesday, we will discuss the POC further.
Okay.
Yeah. Should there be a dedicated Slack channel for the POC, I think, or we're discussing? Or discussing it in the SIG Events channel, I guess.
Yeah, I don't see a need for a specific channel right now, but maybe if it gets too noisy for anyone not involved, then we can move on.
It's not noisy yet, so that's fine. Please continue there. Okay, so thanks everyone for today. Nice discussions and good to have you here. See you in 2 weeks.
It's always a pleasure.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Everyone.